The 64th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Quote, "What is at rest is easily managed. What is not yet manifest is easy to prevent. The brittle is easily shattered. The small is easily scattered. Act before things exist. Manage them before there is disorder. Remember, a tree that fills a man's embrace grows from a seedling. A tower 9 stories high starts with 1 brick. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Act and destroy it. Grasp it and lose it. The sage does not act, and so is not defeated. He does not grasp, and therefore does not lose. People usually fail when they are on the verge of success. So give as much care at the end as at the beginning. Then there will be no failure. The sage does not treasure what is difficult to attain. He does not collect precious things. He learns not to hold on to ideas. He helps the 10,000 things find their own nature, but does not venture to lead them by the nose." Unquote. Living by being here now. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step is the most famous line of the entire Tao Te Ching. It's quoted so often because it encourages us to avoid procrastination and just begin from where we are, right here, right now. A tiny seed planted and nurtured grows into a forest. A marathon begins by taking that first stride. In my opinion, the German poet and playwright Johann von Goethe nicely summed up this ancient teaching with these rhyming words. Only engage, and then the mind grows heated. Begin it, and then the work will be completed. The essence of the widely known 64th verse of the Tao Te Ching is this: every goal is possible from here, with the emphasis on from here. This is particularly applicable to problems that seem overwhelming. When you change the way you think about them, your new and unique perspective will cause the enormity of the things before you to diminish. The sage does not treasure what is difficult, because he breaks it down into easily managed steps. Rather than taking over and directing others or attempting to do everything himself, the follower of the Tao finds a way to manage problems before they exist and prior to disorder breaking out. Lao Tzu is encouraging all of us to do the same. Re-examine how you view the challenges you face as well as those of your family, community, and country. Sense in your heart how easily preventable many of them are when you deal with things before they exist, and when you refuse to be attached to the ideas that are largely responsible for these problems. There are 3 steps to enlightenment that most people traverse. The first is through suffering. This is when the big problems of your life become so overwhelming that a long period of misery ensues because you treasure what is difficult to attain. Ultimately, you come to a place where you can look back at those huge obstacles, such as illnesses, accidents, addictions, financial loss, children's struggles, divorce, and so on, and see in retrospect that they were actually gifts disguised as problems. Yet this is not the way of the Tao. This is not how a sage conducts his life. The second is by being in the present moment. Here you've moved closer to the Tao by asking yourself when a crisis erupts, what do I have to learn from this experience right now? I know there's a gift hidden for me in this misfortune, and I'll focus on looking for it in the moment. While this is Tao-centered thinking, it's not all that Lao Tzu wants to convey in this 64th verse. Third. The third is by getting out in front of big problems. This means that you act before difficulties occur. You sense disorder coming your way, and you manage it in advance. This is the way of the Tao. The small is easily scattered, says Lao Tzu. So here you're the acute observer who's totally in tune with nature. With foresight, you anticipate an argument, you play it out in your mind in a split second, and are able to neutralize the negative energy because you were in front of it. You've responded by not acting in your former problem-producing ways, and are thus harmonized with the Tao. At this stage, you prevent difficulties rather than solve them. This verse invites you to master the third or Tao-centered method. Here are some suggestions for doing so. First, remind yourself of the inherent value in practicing the most enduring line from the entire Tao Te Ching. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Forget about the end result. When you arrive where you thought you wanted to be, you'll just begin a new journey. So enjoy each step along the way and keep in mind that every goal is possible from here. Just do one thing, one day at a time. Here's an example of this from my own life. It has now been almost 2 decades since I've had a drink containing alcohol. Had I thought about not drinking for 20 years, it would have been overwhelming and really difficult. Yet I've done it one day at a time. I can't speak for the next 20 years, but one thing I'm absolutely certain of is that today, and today alone, I will not be taking a drink. One step, one moment, one day at a time. It is the Tao in action. And secondly, become a master anticipator. Decide that you're perfectly capable of preventing trouble from cropping up in your life long before it manifests into your material world. Anticipate your own health, for instance. Become conscious of prevention rather than waiting for challenges to materialize, by taking care to be nutritiously sound as a way of life, such as by taking supplements that remove toxins from your body, cleansing your colon, eating more fruits and vegetables, and fewer animal products, exercising and meditating. You're out in front of big problems. You're foreseeing what you need to do while you're capable of scattering the small, managing your health in harmony with the Tao long before there's disorder. Find other areas of your life to practice being a master anticipator. Do the Tao now. Take one habit that you'd like to see removed from your life, such as something that you believe constitutes a weakness or perhaps even an addiction. Just for today, and with no promises about tomorrow or the future, take a single step to transcend this habit. Don't smoke or drink caffeine, just today. Eat only veggies and fruit, just today. Speak warmly to hostile neighbors, just today. Notice at the end of this one day how you feel. Then, and only then, decide if tomorrow morning you wish to continue practicing the wisdom of the Tao Te Ching, which was itself written one word and one day at a time,